Discussion on verses 1 to 3 of 3. In the 8th year after the migration, Mecca was conquered, and soon after, large numbers of people across the Arabian Peninsula began accepting Islam. This marked a decisive turning point in the mission of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, as the message of Islam moved from a position of struggle and resistance to one of widespread acceptance and stability. In respect to this, Allah, the Exalted, revealed chapter 110 and Nasr, verses 1 to 3.
When the victory of Allah has come and the conquest, and you see the people entering into the religion of Allah in multitudes, then glorify Him with praise of your Lord and ask forgiveness of Him. Indeed, He is ever accepting of repentance.
According to the hadith recorded in Sahih Bukhari, number 4430, both Umar ibn al-Khattab and Abdullah ibn Abbas understood that these verses also carried a subtle and profound indication that the mission of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, had reached its completion, and that his departure from this world was approaching. This interpretation reflects a deep level of insight, recognizing that once the message had been fully conveyed and widely accepted, the role of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, as the final messenger had been fulfilled. Chapter 110 and Nasr, verses 1 to 2.
When the victory of Allah has come and the conquest, and you see the people entering into the religion of Allah in multitudes.
It is important to observe that these verses do not state that people will all become individuals of deep and established faith, but rather that they will enter into Islam outwardly. This distinction highlights a difference between outward acceptance and inward certainty. Entering the religion may occur due to social influence, family background, or the general direction of society, whereas true faith is something that must be consciously developed through knowledge, reflection, and sincere action. Chapter 49 Al-Hujurat, verse 14.
The Bedouins say, "We have believed." Say, "You have not yet believed," but say instead, "We have submitted, for faith has not yet entered your hearts."
This verse demonstrates that outward submission does not necessarily equate to inner certainty. A person may identify as part of the religion and perform its outward practices, yet still lack the depth of understanding and conviction required for strong and stable faith. Such a state often arises when a person has not engaged with Islamic teachings through learning and reflection, but instead follows the religion primarily due to environment or social expectation. As a result of this limited understanding, faith may remain weak and easily influenced. When faced with situations where personal desires conflict with Islamic teachings, a person with weak faith may struggle to maintain consistency in obedience to Allah, the Exalted. Even if they fulfill basic obligations, the absence of deeper conviction can lead to misuse of blessings such as time, wealth, and opportunities. Over time, this imbalance can affect both mental and physical well-being, as priorities become unclear and responsibilities are not properly managed. This state can also lead to insufficient preparation for accountability on the Day of Judgment, as actions may not be guided by consistent awareness of long-term consequences. Although such a person may still experience moments of worldly comfort, this does not necessarily translate into lasting peace of mind, as true stability is closely tied to clarity of purpose and disciplined conduct. In contrast, the one who develops faith through knowledge and practice attains a stronger and more grounded state. Chapter 49 Al-Hujurat, verse 15.
The believers are only the ones who have believed in Allah and His Messenger, and then doubt not, but strive with their properties and their lives in the cause of Allah. It is those who are the truthful.
This verse highlights that true belief is characterized by certainty, commitment, and effort. It is not limited to internal affirmation, but is reflected in consistent action, sacrifice, and dedication. Such a person aligns their choices with divine guidance, even when it requires restraint or effort, because they recognize the long-term benefit of obedience to Allah, the Exalted. Due to this strong foundation, they are more capable of remaining steadfast in all circumstances, whether in ease or hardship. They use the blessings granted to them in a balanced and purposeful manner, ensuring that responsibilities, relationships, and priorities are correctly placed within their life. This alignment leads to greater inner stability, clarity in decision-making, and a sense of direction that supports both worldly well-being and preparation for the hereafter. For this reason, a person is encouraged to move beyond mere outward identification and strive toward the level of true belief, one that is built upon knowledge, reflection, and consistent action. It is this level of faith that produces lasting peace of mind, as it harmonizes belief, behavior, and purpose, leading to stability and success in both this life and the life to come. Furthermore, the one whose faith remains weak is less likely to express it consistently through action. This includes neglecting even the most fundamental obligations, such as the prescribed prayers, which are meant to reinforce a person's connection with Allah, the Exalted, and strengthen their sense of accountability. When faith is not supported by action, it gradually loses its influence over a person's behavior, decisions, and priorities. It is important to recognize that in this world, a person is judged according to outward appearance and their verbal declaration of faith. Based on this, they are treated as a Muslim within the legal and social framework. However, in the hereafter, judgment belongs solely to Allah, the Exalted, who evaluates each person according to their inner reality, something that is hidden from creation but fully known to Him. This means that a person may outwardly claim belief in Allah, the Exalted, and in accountability on the Day of Judgment. Yet if this claim is not supported by sincere action, it may not reflect true faith within the heart. This highlights a serious reality. Outward identification alone is not sufficient for ultimate success. If belief does not translate into obedience, discipline, and sincere effort, then the claim itself becomes hollow. In such a case, a person risks being judged according to their true state rather than their outward label, which may lead to severe consequences in the hereafter, even if they were regarded as a Muslim in worldly terms. In addition, the one who consistently fails to support their declaration of faith with action places themselves in a position of genuine spiritual risk. Faith is not a fixed state that remains unchanged. Rather, it requires continuous nurturing through obedience. When this is neglected, faith gradually weakens. Constant exposure to distraction, heedlessness, and unchecked desires slowly erodes its strength, until it no longer has a meaningful influence over a person's conduct. Faith can be understood as something delicate that requires ongoing care and protection. Just as a flame weakens and eventually goes out when it is not sustained with fuel, faith too diminishes when it is not maintained through consistent acts of obedience. These acts serve as the nourishment that preserves and strengthens it. When they are abandoned, the light of faith begins to fade, leaving a person increasingly vulnerable to confusion, misguidance, and a loss of clear purpose in life. This reality is not merely theoretical, but is also demonstrated in history. After the passing of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, some individuals who had outwardly accepted Islam, particularly following the widespread acceptance of Islam after the conquest of Mecca, did not remain firm upon it. Their acceptance had been influenced more by prevailing social conditions than by deeply rooted understanding and conviction. As a result, when the external circumstances changed, they were unable to remain steadfast. This has been discussed in Imam Muhammad as-Salabi's, the biography of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, pages 314 to 317, and in hadiths found in Sahih Bukhari, numbers 1399 to 1400. This illustrates an important principle. Faith that is not built upon knowledge and strengthened through consistent practice is vulnerable to change. When belief is based primarily on environment, culture, or social momentum, it may not endure during times of uncertainty or transition. In contrast, faith that is developed through learning the teachings of the Holy Quran and the traditions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, and then reinforced through action, becomes far more stable and resilient. Therefore, a person must actively work to preserve and strengthen their faith through both understanding and practice. This includes fulfilling obligations, reflecting on divine guidance, and consistently aligning behavior with what pleases Allah, the Exalted. By doing so, faith becomes firmly rooted, providing clarity, stability, and direction in all circumstances, and protecting a person from the risk of spiritual decline. For this reason, maintaining faith is not simply about holding a belief, but about actively preserving and strengthening it. This is achieved through consistent practice, sincere intention, and ongoing effort to align one's life with the guidance of Allah, the Exalted. Neglecting this responsibility risks losing the very foundation that provides direction, meaning, and success in both this life and the hereafter. An important aspect of strengthening faith is then mentioned in the next verse. Chapter 110 and Nasr, verse 3.
Then glorify him with praise of your Lord, and ask forgiveness of him. Indeed, he is ever accepting of repentance.
It is noteworthy that during times of hardship, the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, was repeatedly instructed to remain patient and to glorify Allah the Exalted. Yet, at the moment of victory and success, he was again commanded to glorify Allah the Exalted. This highlights a profound and consistent principle, that remembrance, praise and devotion to Allah the Exalted are required in every state, whether in difficulty or ease. Chapter 20 Taha, verse 130.
So be patient over what they say and glorify Allah with praise of your Lord before the rising of the sun and before its setting, and during periods of the night exalt him, and at the ends of the day, that you may be satisfied.
One of the co-lessons derived from this is the importance of combining patience during difficulty with gratitude during ease. Both states require the remembrance and glorification of Allah the Exalted. Since everything that occurs, whether perceived as good or difficult, happens by His will, a person must avoid attributing negativity or injustice to him. Instead, they are encouraged to adopt a constructive and balanced mindset, recognizing that every situation carries wisdom, even if it is not immediately understood. Developing a positive mindset is therefore not simply an emotional preference, but a practical tool that helps a person remain obedient to Allah the Exalted. This obedience involves using all blessings, such as time, health, and resources, in ways that are pleasing to Him, as outlined in the Holy Quran and the traditions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. When difficulties arise, a person is encouraged to reflect that the situation could have been more severe, and if the hardship is worldly, to be grateful that it has not affected their faith, which is far more significant. Rather than becoming consumed by immediate distress, a person should focus on the long-term reward promised for patience. When certain blessings are lost, it is beneficial to consciously reflect on the many blessings that remain. This perspective helps maintain emotional balance and prevents despair. Chapter 2 Al-Baqarah, verse 216.
But perhaps you hate a thing and it is good for you, and perhaps you love a thing and it is bad for you. And Allah knows while you know not.
By consistently reflecting on such teachings, a person develops a mindset that avoids attributing negativity to Allah the Exalted, and instead strengthens trust, patience, and gratitude. Chapter 110 and Nasr, verse 3.
So glorify Allah with praise of your Lord.
Gratitude towards Allah the Exalted is not limited to words, but is expressed through intention, speech, and action. In intention, it means acting sincerely for His pleasure alone. In speech, it involves speaking good or remaining silent from harmful or unnecessary words. In action, it requires using every blessing in a way that aligns with divine guidance. When a person adopts this comprehensive form of gratitude, it leads to an increase in blessings, greater inner tranquility, and success in both this world and the hereafter. It also enables a person to achieve a balanced mental and physical state, where priorities are correctly arranged, and relationships and responsibilities are placed in their proper context. In this way, gratitude and patience together form the foundation of a stable, purposeful, and spiritually fulfilling life. Chapter 14 Ibrahim, verse 7.
If you are grateful, I will surely increase you in favor.
This chapter concludes by reminding people that absolute perfection is neither required nor expected from them. Rather, what is required is sincerity, humility, and a continuous effort to return to Allah, the Exalted. Chapter 110 and Nasr, verse 3.
And ask forgiveness of him. Indeed, he is ever accepting of repentance.
This instruction, revealed at a moment of great success, highlights a profound reality. Even at the height of achievement, a person is still in need of seeking forgiveness. This demonstrates that human beings are naturally prone to shortcomings, and that their success lies not in being flawless, but in recognizing their limitations and continually turning back to Allah the Exalted. In general, what is expected from a person is not a life free from mistakes, but a life characterized by sincere effort. This includes striving to use the blessings granted by Allah, the Exalted, in ways that are pleasing to Him, adhering to Islamic teachings to the best of one's ability, and maintaining awareness of accountability in every aspect of life. When mistakes occur, as they inevitably will, the correct response is not denial or persistence, but acknowledgement, remorse, and sincere repentance. The true danger, therefore, does not lie in committing errors, but in becoming comfortable with them. Persisting in wrongdoing without regret gradually hardens the heart and distances a person from guidance. In contrast, regularly returning to Allah, the Exalted, softens the heart, renews faith, and restores clarity of purpose. Repentance acts as a means of spiritual purification, allowing a person to correct their path and continue striving without being defined by past mistakes. When a person adopts this approach, combining sincere effort with consistent repentance, they place themselves under the mercy of Allah, the Exalted. This leads to a state of inner tranquility, as they are no longer overwhelmed by their shortcomings, but instead are actively addressing them with hope and humility. Such a person lives with balance, striving to improve while recognizing their dependence on divine mercy. As a result, they experience peace of mind in this world, as their life is guided by purpose, accountability, and continual self-correction. At the same time, they carry hope for success in the hereafter, knowing that Allah, the Exalted, accepts repentance and rewards sincere effort. This combination of awareness, humility, and reliance upon Allah, the Exalted, forms the foundation of a stable, meaningful, and spiritually fulfilling life. To conclude, a person is encouraged to fully embrace and consistently act upon the teachings of Islam for their own benefit, even when doing so requires setting aside personal desires or immediate inclinations. Their attitude should resemble that of a thoughtful and trusting patient who relies on the judgment of a skilled physician. Such a patient understands that a treatment may be bitter, demanding, or restrictive, yet still accepts it because it ultimately leads to healing and long-term well-being. In the same way, divine guidance may sometimes challenge a person's habits or preferences, but it is always directed toward their true welfare. Just as disciplined adherence to medical instruction restores physical health and stabilizes the mind, following divine guidance grants clarity of thought, emotional balance, and inner tranquility. This is because only Allah, the Exalted, possesses perfect and complete knowledge of human nature and what is required for a person to live a balanced, meaningful, and harmonious life. With this perfect knowledge, every blessing, responsibility, and relationship is placed in its proper position, preventing imbalance, excess, and neglect. Human knowledge, no matter how advanced, remains limited. Even with significant progress in psychology, biology, and the study of human behavior, people are still unable to resolve every difficulty or eliminate all forms of emotional distress, instability, or hardship. Human judgment is shaped by limited experience, incomplete understanding, and personal bias. For this reason, human systems may offer partial benefit, but they cannot provide comprehensive guidance for every situation or guarantee lasting inner harmony. In contrast, Allah, the Exalted, possesses absolute and unrestricted knowledge, and He has conveyed through the Holy Quran and the teachings of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, everything necessary for a person to live a purposeful and balanced life. The difference between those who follow divine guidance and those who turn away from it is often reflected in their conduct and in the outcomes of their choices. Those who align their lives with Islamic teachings tend to display emotional steadiness, clearer judgment, and a more organized approach to life, even during times of difficulty. In contrast, those who disregard these principles frequently experience confusion, inner conflict, and a lack of direction, even when outwardly surrounded by comfort or success. This contrast shows that true order and stability are not merely external conditions, but arise from how a person aligns their inner and outer life with divine instruction. Although a patient may not fully understand the reasoning behind a medical prescription, they still trust the expertise of the physician. However, Allah, the Exalted, does not require blind obedience without thought. Rather, He encourages people to reflect, reason, and observe the signs within themselves and throughout the world. Faith is therefore grounded in understanding, sincerity, and insight, not unexamined imitation. Chapter 12 Yusuf, verse 108.
Say, this is my way, I invite to Allah with insight, I and those who follow me.
Furthermore, it is Allah the Exalted alone who possesses complete authority over a person's inner state, including their emotions, stability and sense of peace. Chapter 53 and Najm, verse 43.
And that it is He who makes one laugh and weep.
This demonstrates that lasting inner peace cannot be achieved through external conditions alone, but is ultimately granted by Allah the Exalted. It is closely connected to how a person uses the blessings entrusted to them, and whether those blessings are directed in accordance with divine guidance. Those who live in obedience to this guidance tend to experience greater stability, purpose and emotional balance, whereas those who neglect or misuse their blessings often fall into confusion, turmoil and dissatisfaction. In the end, genuine peace, whether of mind, body or spirit, can only be attained through sincere alignment with the guidance of Allah, the Exalted. Divine guidance is not a restriction on life, but a framework that gives life structure, meaning and harmony in this world and in the hereafter. Chapter 16 and Nahl, verse 97.
Whoever does righteousness, whether male or female, while he is a believer, we will surely cause him to live a good life, and we will surely give them their reward in the hereafter according to the best of what they used to do.
All praise is due to Allah, Lord of the worlds, and may peace and blessings be upon His final messenger, Muhammad, his noble family and companions.